First of all, is the boss somebody who invests not only in the growth and development of me, the employee, but do they even invest in their own growth and development? A lot of companies have training departments, training managers, trainers and facilitators. They have curriculums and learning management systems that we enroll ourselves in and go through the training. But is this leader someone who themselves wants to grow, develop, receive feedback, be what we at Kaiser call 100% coachable? Because that's a form of authenticity. The investment in self makes your investment in me, the employee, actually meaningful. And I like a boss that grows and develops over time, right? Not one that's static. I get feedback from employees in where they consider the work or workplace to be not fun, doesn't really motivate them and engage them. They'll often say, well, you know, here at this company, they don't spend anything on the employees. If I wanted to go to a seminar, attend a mastermind session, enroll for college coursework, they won't tuition reimburse, or they don't like to spend the money. Well, see, that's a lack of investment on that first parallel of investment in the employee and investment in self by the boss. I hear the sort of cheapskate approach as the definition of just a bad boss, not a gifted leader that I would like to work for. Second, there's a lot of research that shows that a leader being consistent is really important. What do I mean by consistent? Doesn't change with the mood of the day, for example. Has a certain values plane that they operate on that can be consistently counted on to manifest itself in an even-handed way equally for all employees. There's plenty of research out spanning many decades that shows that bad bosses tend to have an in-group and an out-group. In other words, they have some employees or direct reports that they like, and those will receive some sort of favorable treatment again and again. And then they have a group that maybe is a little on the outs, that maybe they don't get the preferred treatment. And trust me, employees see that contradiction. They see it for what it is, and it would equal an inconsistent boss or bad boss. The gifted boss that you want to work for, that motivates and inspires you to leap out of bed in the morning and log in, join, drive, or whatever you do to get to work these days, is someone who you consistently always know that you and every other employee are going to be treated the same way, usually based on some shared values. Now, what are values? The science behind human values, Olivia, is actually the oldest science on the planet when we're studying employees. 3,000 years ago, Greek philosophers spent a lot of time trying to understand, for example, the difference between good versus evil. Why do some people treat others well and others treat people badly? There must be some reason for that. Secondly, that which is beautiful versus that which is ugly, often called aesthetics. So the idea of ethics plus aesthetics equals values. Employees want to know that the boss has solid ethics, that they will behave the right way every time and not be tempted by things like company valuation, share price, opportunity to expand in a market, to the extent they would then violate my values as an employee and perhaps ask me to do something underhanded, something unethical, something evil to a customer, a stakeholder, the marketplace, or whatever. We need a high ethical plane among our leaders and a high sense of aesthetics. So aesthetics come into play in the workplace in, do we have a high quality space that our people function in? Have we afforded our employees all the tools, systems, training, and so forth that they need to get the job done? That would be an aesthetic workplace. So ethics plus aesthetics equals consistency. It's our value system that we operate on. And from over 75 years of research by the Society for Human Resource Management, we know that the number one reason that a company or team or department loses an otherwise capable worker within that worker's first 90 days on the job, it's always because of a values conflict with the company, the boss, the rest of the team, or whatever. So it's very important that we understand our ethics and our aesthetics as a team. I like to do sponsor values conversations when we onboard a new member of the team to make sure we find some common ground or alignment in our values, because for the boss, that then gives consistency. So we want investment in employees and self as one domain of being a selfless leader. We want consistency to be another domain. And finally, we want recognition and reward to be a domain. Everybody knows what has to be produced or outputted by the business on a given workday or work shift. We come, we output that work, we expect to be paid like every second Friday or whatever for the work. Nothing says that exceptional performance can't be valued and demonstrated through recognition and reward. And believe me, there are right and wrong ways to engage in recognition and reward. And we have resources at Kaiser, a whole team of people, in fact, that can help with how you onboard a recognition and reward initiative, how you would do things, for example, like employee bonus programs. There's actually right and wrong ways to do those. Because the idea is, as a culture in our business, we should be able to celebrate success, not just produce the widget, but to celebrate individual and group performance. And so an important domain of the gifted boss is a zeal, a passion, an enthusiasm for rewarding and recognizing correct behavior and performance in a work environment.